welcome to In Real Life with Nur Friday, brought to you by Social Impact Film Club, where you get access to amazing social impact documentaries online. In the next few weeks, we're going to be meeting really special people from film directors to social impact experts right here on In Real Life. I'm Shabu, your host with the most, and today we have the one and only Nur Friday. She is the director of Kitback Plastic and currently in her final year as an undergrad student in the Singapore University of Social Sciences. So as we go along, be sure to ask your questions in the comments and also stay tuned for our trivia game where there are prizes to be won. But before all that, I want to show you the trailer to Kitback Plastic for those of you who have not seen it. And if you have not seen it, please visit filmclub.sg to watch the full film. So without further ado, I present to you Kitback Plastic.
I want to ask some adults some very important questions. What does it mean for children?
Children?
I guess your future doesn't look so bright, right? Do you want a well filled with rubbish? No, I don't want it for you either.
That's plastic. I got no idea how. Wow, so many made of plastic. Yeah, I don't know why they cannot sell with the... Don't put inside the plastic. That is the question.
You don't care enough, so we took things into our own hands. Made us believe you don't care enough for us to breathe.
Hello. Hi, Nur Friday. Welcome to the club and welcome to In Real Life. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here. Happy to have you on as well for our first episode of In Real Life. So before we get into the film proper, talking about some of the processes in making that film and also the story, I guess, behind the stories, maybe you can share and introduce a little bit about yourself so that we can get a flavor of who Nur Friday is.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Nur Friday. I am the director for Kitback Plastic. I am someone with a wide, varied interest. So I like to learn new things. So I classify myself as a learner. So I'm always constantly learning. Actually, when I came out with this film, it was my first time actually producing and directing a film. And I decided to challenge myself further by bringing children on set and letting them sort of like co-direct with me. So as if directing and scripting and editing was not hard enough, I had to push myself further and introduce children in the mix, Yeah. So, this is me. I like challenges.
Awesome. Okay, I think as in very good intro, we have a little sense of who you are. But right now, I'm going to ask you a few quick fire questions, and I just want you to
Okay.
give us the first thoughts that come to mind, okay? And so the first
Okay.
question that I have for you is,
Okay.
if you had to sing a song in front of a crowd tomorrow, which song would you choose and why?
It's Hamilton. They're from the Broadway show Hamilton. Yeah, the Schuyler Sisters. Because that
Nice.
song is
Are you a big
so...
fan of Broadway?
Yes, 100%. Actually, not really lah. It's a lot more like Lin-Manuel Miranda because he's a great he's a role model to me. But especially that song because it's kind of like a very woman empowerment song, especially set back to that date. And I really love the beat, the rhythm of the whole song. Yeah, right off
Can
the
you
bat.
Can you give us a snippet, a preview? Show us
Sure.
your vocal prowess.
Oh, I'm so sorry for anyone else listening with earphones, okay? But this is my best.
All right,
There's
let's
nothing
go.
there's nothing that rich folks love more like going downtown and slamming with the poor. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome, great. Woohoo! Choo-hoo! Okay, awesome. Okay, next Next quick fire question. Complete this sentence. I am curious about.
I'm curious about what cats are thinking all the time.
I'm assuming you have cats, yeah?
Yes, plenty. Some of them are not even mine. They're community cats that decide to stay with us. Yeah.
So, on a typical day, what are they thinking about?
I'm thinking
Or what do
sometimes
you
they're
think they're thinking
wondering.
about?
Sometimes
Yeah,
I
sorry, go
think they
ahead.
are wondering, like, when am I going to top out their food bowl? Like, when is this human going to let me eat? Or like, why is there only kibbles? Where is the wet food? That's what I'm thinking. They're thinking.
Okay, great. Well, I would say your community cats are really lucky to have you there. So that's good job. Keep it up. And on to our third question. If the last year of your life was a film, what would the title be?
Oh, hmm. Okay, this is the working title. Okay, it's going to call Nur Friday, the one with many hats.
The one, and
Yeah,
this, I guess, I mean, plays into the fact that you do have varied interests, as you shared with us earlier,
yeah,
right? Some of which, I mean, from filmmaking, right, environmental sustainability, cats, and your community cats, so on and so forth. Yeah.
yes.
So, I mean, okay, so let's dive right into this whole venture that you took, right, into filmmaking, and
Okay.
as in maybe I'll share a little about what I like about the film. Definitely, I mean, for those who have not watched the film and you've just seen that snippet from the trailer, what I really found interesting was this whole concept of um, running that narrative through the perspectives of children's eyes. Right, I think it brought a pretty heavy topic, usually where it's seriously spoken about, and bringing a bit of a fun and creative flair to the documentary. So I really like that. And I mean, if all of you watched the film itself, I liked how you added quirky elements to the editing, just to make it fun, just to make it light. So what I wanted to ask you was, or my first big question, and I call this like the why segment, right, or the why zone. Like, why did you even venture into documentary filmmaking, having no experience at all with production, with editing, and yeah, why do you decide to go in?
Mm, okay, I think right. It all started with a call out from the university to join a social impact documentary masterclass that was endorsed by US Embassy, and then you get to learn from Thomas Morgan, which is a renowned documentary filmmaker. And then at the same time, that was when I first got I first know of Amber's works. So I decided when I saw the email, to be very honest, I was like, nah, not for me. Okay, but so I guess fate just works in very funny ways. The somehow the email was in my inbox again, even though I've put it into my junk. And then I was like, is this a sign? Yeah. So I told myself, you know what? Maybe it's time for you to learn a new skill. So I decided, okay, let's just go for it. And then, can I just share something really funny? So in the first
Sure, go ahead.
masterclass, okay, in the first masterclass, right, Thomas Morgan actually asked us to film something around the compounds of campus. So I went and I had like a storyline in mind. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I was storyboarding in my head. And then I filmed it, right? And then we had half an hour to do it, and then we had to present it in class. So what happened was, when I presented it, everybody's film was so good. It was great with the transitions, and I noticed something particularly different about my film, and that was that I shot in portrait mode, like not in landscape, like in the TikTok, Instagram mode, like this. And then everybody was in landscape except for me, except for mine. So that was the first like, oh snap, you shouldn't have like, filmed it this way. But Thomas Morgan was so sweet about it. He laughed about it and he said, maybe that could be your artistic flair. And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, maybe not. Yeah. So yeah,
Well,
that's why I got
I'm
started.
yeah, I'm really glad that you just didn't leave that email in the trash, and that you eventually took up this course together with us. I mean, it was such a pleasure to have you on, and I'm sure Thomas Morgan will share the same sentiment as myself. And in fact, I think so. That's really a great, well, not great, I guess, but it's a prime example of someone with no experience, right? Going to shoot a scene and doing it in portrait mode instead of landscape, right? I mean, I guess maybe that's like the TikTok generation, but
Yeah.
I think that's I mean, kudos to you, because from that point where you had no experience, you were filming in portrait mode, all the way to that to the point of you actually producing the film. And I would like to share that when you actually finished the film during the masterclass session that we ran together with Thomas Morgan, where you were a participant, that it was screened at the conference for for service learning, right? The Asia Pac
Yeah.
Service Learning Conference. So
Yeah.
immediately after the production and after creating your first film, you had a major screening with leaders from the Asia Pacific coming
Yeah.
in terms of service learning, like community leaders being able to see what you created. So that's really awesome.
Yeah. I'm really grateful
And
for that.
yeah, so what was, I guess, what was some of your biggest challenges, right? So definitely in the stages of trying to plan for the documentary, you had to pick a topic, right? So I guess the question is, like, why choose something to do with plastics? Why something to do with environmental sustainability?
Mhm. I guess one of the things about social impact documentary is to shed light on a social cause. So I guess for me, I am someone who feels a lot for varying like a diverse range of social causes. So what I did was to refine it down to what is my motivation. So one of the strongest motivation I had was with plastics, because at that point in time I was also going through this phase where I was phasing out plastics because I wanted to adopt a low waste lifestyle. So because that was very much in line with my like personal vision, and me improving myself, I thought, hey, why not? Because I have a vested interest in that lifestyle, maybe I should do this documentary based on that. Yeah, so that's why I chose plastic. And then as I was storyboarding, I was like, okay, and I was looking around, and there were many really great films about plastic in the oceans. Like if you watch Planet Earth, if you watch like you can find it everywhere, even on Netflix. So when I was watching documentary, I was like, no, I can't do this. They have too much equipment. I don't have this equipment. I don't have a budget. Let's be realistic. So I asked myself, what resource do I have that these filmmakers probably don't have access to? And as I was reflecting and thinking about it, I realized, hang on, I'm an educator. I have access to children. So let's do something with children. Yeah, so that's how the story like came about. And then there was a lot of ruminating, meditating on the idea. And then soon enough, when I shared a couple of ideas with Thomas, Thomas liked the one with the children. And then I told him that, oh, I haven't started yet. Then his advice to me was just start shooting. Yeah, so I was like, okay, no, just start, lor. Yeah,
I think yes, that's golden advice, especially I mean in the production process, in filmmaking, right? Just get started, and
yeah,
especially I mean when we're talking about documentary filmmaking, it's you. I mean it is common, and I say it probably is a quote unquote must that the story changes along the way, right? You can't
yes,
predetermine what happens in a real life setting, and most of the
yes,
times things will change. So
yeah,
I also, yeah, I think it's really interesting that it kind of started with a personal endeavor for you, trying to reduce your own consumption of plastics, and then sort of tying that into a topic for your documentary where you could potentially effect change for other people, right? Through the
Yeah.
story that you tell. So I have two questions on this, right? So
Okay.
one is, of course, my own interest, or how I'm fascinated by the fact that you use the lens of children to tell the story. So number one, like why kids, why choose kids, right? I mean, definitely it is because, like you said, when you were ruminating, you were contemplating, um, you had access to kids and you wanted to effect change there. But maybe share with me a bit of the process of, maybe did you get any new insights when you were
Mm,
speaking to the kids, for example?
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
that was
you
the
can
first
answer that
question.
first. Yeah.
Okay. So, why I decided for children, to work with children, right? It's also because I wanted to see the world in their eyes. Because I think, right, when we talk about plastic consumption, when we talk about climate change, the people who are dominating the table for this discussion is always adults. But we forget that we're leaving this world for children. So I wonder sometimes whether they know of the severity of the plastic issue, and I also wonder if
Mm-hmm.
they understand it at the same level we do, or perhaps they even know things from perspectives that we haven't considered. So I guess it was a lot of, like, how we're as adults, we are sort of wiser, we have a lot more experiences, but we kind of forget the crux of it. We kind of forget, like, the very simple, basic form of understanding this issue. And I thought that that is such a it's a wise thing that only children can offer us, like when you see things from their perspective, because it's really simple and we overcomplicate things too much. So I wanted to hear that from children's perspective. That's why I decided to, even though I was directing it, but to be very honest with you, most of the activities during the 4 weeks were initiated by the children. So I just, on my part, what I did was just facilitate. So when they said they wanted to do something, I was like, okay, do we have resources for that? Do we have budget for that? Okay, it's gonna be a bit hard, but let's just do it. Yeah. So there was a lot of like shared space between the director, filmmaker, the producer, and with the children. But most, I can say, like 80% of the time, the children are the ones steering the conversation. Yeah.
Awesome. And okay, wait. So I see a question here. We have a question from Shalini. Thank you for the question. So, how did you decide on the two boys, and what made them ideal candidates for your film?
Okay, it's so funny. Thank you for asking this question. One of the things that I was looking at, because one of my other social issue that I feel strongly for is about racial representation in film. So the fact that, usually in films, if you see filmmakers, they're usually males, right? So when I stepped forward, I was the first. I wouldn't say I was the first, but I thought that a minority representative of a woman in a hijab, a brown woman directing this would be interesting. That was the first thing that I wanted to introduce. The other thing I wanted to introduce was representation of my cast, like who were the face of my film. So I decided to have, actually I wanted to have 3 children or 4 children from a diverse racial background, but I had no access to them at the last minute. So these two were a matter of, I wouldn't say convenience. It was a matter of like thinking and thinking. I'm like, okay, who would be the people I can sort of sell this idea to and pitch it to? And I know that they will probably say, sure, let's do it, because I have to pitch it to their parents, not to them. Yeah, so I
Yes,
was thinking to
correct.
myself, like, who do I have on my team? So I decided to reach out to my circles, and then I had a Chinese boy and a Malay boy. Then I was like, perfect. Let's start with these two, because I was thinking if I had any more, I think if I have 4 children or 5 children, do I have the resources? Because most times for filming, it's just like two of us, like myself and my associate producer. So there's 2 adults and like 5 children. No way, if that adult to children ratio is a bit too much for me. So I thought a 1-to-1 ratio would be best. So between these 2 children, I wanted racial representation as well. So this is why I chose children from really different backgrounds to come together. And just a disclaimer, they have never met each other before filming. So the first session of filming was like a get to know session, and oh my goodness, children just get together so fast, and the way they
Oh my
got
god,
together, right?
I'm really surprised because as in they had such good chemistry on screen.
Right?
So I thought they
Yeah.
were like friends from before.
No,
Yeah.
they were never
I didn't
met
even
each
know
other
this.
before. Yeah. So when we brought them together, I was like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Are they not gonna like each other because they're very different? I was again as an adult overcomplicating things. But when they met, they were like, what's your name? Mika. What's your name? Zidane. And then they started playing together. And then I was like, okay. So I was looking at my associate producer. I was like, okay, I guess we worried for nothing. And then they started playing. I have a lot of like B rolls of them playing together. And I didn't even have to like force them, nah, play together. They were just playing together. So I thought that was great. They immediately had chemistry. I mean, the world works in
That's
mysterious
really
ways.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I'm hearing this, your documentary, I mean, it's not, in terms of impact, it's not just about environmental sustainability. You have a additional layer of bridging and connecting people with the
Yeah.
production and the making of your film. So that's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, because everything is very intersectional, right? There's a lot of intersectionality. So I thought that we should always look at it at how many strings you can pull. Yeah.
Awesome. And definitely, yes, actually, I was just going to ask this question, a question that Tiziana is asking. What was it like pitching to their parents? How did you convince them? I think this is a great question because I'm sure there may be a number of aspiring filmmakers who might be watching this or who are part of the Social Impact Film Club. So this is always, or this is usually one of the first stumbling blocks for filmmakers, and especially if you're new to the trade, right? Is how do you approach your potential like characters or subjects of the documentary or potential partners and speak to them? So share with us that process, and what made it good. What were some of the things that you could have done better?
Mm. I think in that sense, right? I think I'm quite privileged because I have access to established relationships already with the parents. Like for Zidane, he was my associate producer's nephew, and then for Mika, he is my cousin's child. Okay, so the fact that I already have an established relationship with them gave me a leg up in the at a negotiation table. So what I did, but that is not to say that it was hard to convince them. It came with some challenges as well, because at that point in time I didn't know the direction of the film. I mean, because I
Yep,
told you that it's mostly stirred by
yep,
the children, right? So when the parents asked me, like, okay, so where is this going to be screened? Who is going to see this film? And I couldn't answer those questions. But what I did was to tell them that, okay, this is a project that I'm passionate about. And your children seem to be like people that I want to feature. Because I feel that they have the personality. So you have to say the good things that you see about their children. They have the personality, they have the
yep.
charisma, they have good articulation, they can speak well. And I think they will be a good like factor into this film. So I speak good things about their children. And these are not fake things, these are like I highlighted their strengths. And then as parents, right, you kind of feel a bit your heart a bit soft, right? Like, oh, this person sees that my child is this has this
Yeah,
strengths, so they are more likely to
yeah.
lean to your favor. Yeah, so that's how I pitched the
Definitely,
idea
and
to them.
that they have that potential, right?
Yes, yes,
Like a
yeah.
bright,
So
yeah, like a star in the making almost.
yeah, so I'm like, I say I cannot pay you money. I cannot pay you for your time, but I promise if I take your child with me, I will feed them, I will take care of them. And also because I was a teacher, right? I'm an early childhood teacher. That's why they kind of like, okay, like I trust you with the children. Yeah, so that gave me a
Awesome,
bit of
awesome.
a privilege as well, lah. Mm.
Okay, great. Okay, let's take a pause here for a while. I just want to let's address the viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. Please share this link so that more people can get access to In Real Life with Nur Friday. I also have seen quite a number of questions in the comments. Continue to ask your questions, and also remember to stay tuned for our trivia segment where we have some green prizes for winners. So just keep a lookout for that. Okay, so maybe just to sort of round up that process, and to sum up our conversation, why don't you share with us the most interesting story you had in the process of making this film?
Okay. Um, let's see. Okay, so I don't know if you have watched the film already, like for our audience members, but there's this particular part of the film where the children wanted to interview adults at Orchard Road about plastic waste. So they felt so much about the issue and they wanted to kind of like hear and interrogate adults. So I was like, okay, is that really what you want to do? And then they said, yeah, can we please do this? So, and I was like, okay, sure. So what we did was that we went to a space, we printed out like visual cues, and then they were like doing the artwork, they were writing, and then they were also prepared for it. And then before we left for Orchard Road, I gave them a briefing, and then we even role played the whole session together, and then they were so on about it. So we left for Orchard Road, okay? And then when they saw the crowd, they were scared, they were anxious. And then, like the two boys, right? Zidane were distracted by the crowd because I guess one thing about him, right? He absorbs the energy around him. So he reflects the energy in that sense. So he was very excited and bubbly, like, I'm ready for this. He just wants to tackle the task head on. But Mika is the older one, right? He's more like the voice of reason between the two boys. And then he started like looking at me with the oh no, I can't do this kind of face. And then I was like, are
Yeah.
you okay? And then at that point in time, right, I could see fear in his eyes. Or was it, I don't know whether it was fear or anxiety, but I was like, okay, I need to take this child away from the crowd and like let him calm down. So I brought him to a corner, and then he was just sitting down and like hugging himself like this. And I said, are you okay? Then he said, I think I cannot do this. So I was like, oh no, what am I going to do now? And then at that point in time, I was like, okay, let me just handle this gently. And then I asked him like, what's your concern? What's happening? What is it that you're feeling? Then he said he's scared, and then he knows that people are not going to answer his question. So I said, you know what, you don't know until you try. So I said, if you're shy, maybe ask Zidane to approach these people. So he was thinking about it, and after convincing, he was like, okay, let's give it a try. So he did. He went with Zidane to go around asking questions. But oh my goodness, I guess it was my fault lah, because I chose a busy part of Orchard Road, and it's so obvious that people are going somewhere. They're not going to stop and be like. So it was a busy part of Orchard Road. I should have known better. Again, it's my first time, so please don't fault me. And then whenever they approach somebody, right, I have B rolls of people just saying no, no. And then the children's faces, sometimes I caught their reaction is a bit like, okay. So they got dejected. And I felt so bad because as a filmmaker, as an adult, I put them in that position. And I felt like, oh no, I need to do something about this. So I got these two boys again to a corner, and I said, look, this is not working. We need to try something else. So they started brainstorming for strategies. And then Mika said this, I know, let's ask girls because girls are nicer than boys. Then I was like, okay, okay. And then Zidane said, yeah, my mommy tell me if I am lost, I have to ask a lady to bring me to a police station. If I am lost, I need to ask a pregnant mommy to bring me to a police station. So
Was
I
that
was
was
like,
that the case though?
okay, yeah,
Were were Yeah.
so what happened was I was like, okay, let's ask the girls. True enough, the women, the ladies, and that in that walkway was like, oh, okay, sure. And then they were, if you see the interviews, right, most of it we had were with women. They were more welcoming to these children. Yeah, so soon enough, when people were observing that, oh, it's just an interview session, that's where we get the men involved. It's kind of funny. It's a very interesting social situation to observe. Yeah. So eventually they got their interviews. They felt good. And then when I went back home, I sent the children back. I went back home to reflect. Then I was like, okay, what went wrong? What went right? But I have to applaud the children because it's really not easy to just straight up go up to a stranger and ask them questions. Really puts them in the spot, and there's a lot of public speaking skills involved. And the children just like really head on took it. And even though they were scared, they acknowledged their fear and they still went on with it. And I thought, wow, this is something I want to I want to emulate for myself. Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's really great, and that's probably an important thing to note for like people who might be interested in trying to create documentaries, right? This whole or this idea of people management, because the people, especially when we're talking about social impact documentaries, um, the characters or the subjects, if I may use that term, may go through a myriad of different emotions and sometimes like
Yeah.
strong emotions, right? So it's also, I mean, it was your first time, but with seasoned documentarians, definitely they would have experienced such like whirlwind of emotions in
Yeah.
the process of actually creating the film. And again, it's real life, right? As in, we're talking to people, and everything that is said, I mean, it's not scripted. It has an impact. So sometimes, for example, like recounting a certain event or a certain incident that will bring up a lot of emotions, a lot of memories, so on and so forth. In this case, for you, it was about trying to manage the different personalities of the two boys. I'm very glad
Yeah.
that it worked out. And I
Yeah.
think, I mean, from the documentary itself, I think they did an excellent job with the documentary. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. And I mean, back
Kudos to
to
the boys.
the pair. Yeah, kudos to the boys. And I'm sure the parents were extremely elated and very proud of how the kids did in the film. I remember when we had the first screening of your film, which was at a showcase, and parents had come down for the screening as well to view the film, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see them glowing like
Of
right
course.
after.
Yeah. It's like, as a parent, you kind of think like, wow, my children can actually do this, you know? And it's like, it's the sense of like independence that the children claim, and they're just so proud of it. And I feel that it is something to be proud of. And I'm so glad that I was blessed with the privilege to show their parents and to show the world that, hey, this is what the boys can do, this is what children can do. And I thought, wow, that's just I'm very grateful to be given that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent job. And thank you so much for producing, directing, and creating Kit Back Plastic. And again, to all viewers, if you have not watched the film, please visit filmclub.sg, register now, and you will gain access to the full film on the network and on the platform. In the coming weeks as well, we will be releasing even more films that you will have access to. You will get to watch all these amazing stories. So please go to filmclub.sg. And now for the anticipated moment, we are going into our trivia game. All
Yay!
right. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. I'll be asking 3 questions. What you, the viewers, need to do is to submit your answers in the comment section. We will pick 3 lucky winners, and each of the winners will get a $20 voucher that can be used at the Green Collective SG. So, yes, in line with today's theme of environmental sustainability, take part in the trivia, get your $20, go and spend it on something green. And right, let's go to our first question. Let's pull it up. And here we go. When was the first fully synthetic plastic produced for mass production, and what is it called? So you can just include the year and the name of that synthetic plastic. Maybe while the viewers are submitting the answers, Nur Friday, why don't you hit us with some environmental facts? I know
Yeah, that's what I'm good at.
you're yes, that's
I
your
have a lot of
forte.
facts
Let's go.
from my head. Let's pull
Lay
some
it
from
on
the
us.
head.
Lay it on us.
Okay, so do you know that during circuit breaker, I wanted to share this. During circuit breaker, when all of us were at home, during that 2 months, do you know that we accumulated 1.33 million kilograms of plastic waste, and that is equivalent to the weight of 90 double-decker buses. So, and then you like, don't you just worry about the microplastics that you will find like when this gets incinerated and then goes into our ecosystem. 99 double-decker buses, that's a lot of double-decker buses. And I'm talking about the size of
Yeah,
the double-decker
that's a lot
buses.
of trash.
Yeah,
Plastic
I'm talking about
trash.
the weight of the bus, not
Yeah.
the size of the bus. It's just imagine that. 99, okay? One more, it's 100 already.
Was that's quite interesting. Is this amount more than what is usually consumed or disposed of
Yes,
like in non-COVID times? So this is a
yes,
lot more. It's
yeah.
significantly more.
Actually, right, I also think that it's attributed to many factors. But one of the interesting factors that I would observe, right, it's because for someone like me, I carry reusables with me all the time. So when I offered my reusable, vendors were actually not keen to take it because of the fear that you might have some COVID virus on your containers and then it gets spread and things like that. So I guess it's a health issue. Because at that point in time, we didn't know much about COVID, right? So people were just taking the precaution. But at the expense of that precaution, we have generated so much waste that will
Yep.
eventually harm our ecosystem. So what are we going to do about that? Let's think about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just interesting because, as in, I remember that during that COVID period, globally, emissions went down because people were just like staying at home, right? But as in, this is sort of a counterpoint because the consumption of plastics, I mean, on the environmental front, actually went up significantly, right? So
Yes.
interesting. Oh, okay, we have an answer from Hussein. Was it like 1905 PVC? Close but no cigar. So it is wait, hold on. Okay, we got the year correct, but from my research there's another name. Yes, okay,
Yes, that's
sorry,
the
gave
one,
me
Shalini.
the scientific name. I'm not much of a scientist, so yes, Shalini, we have our first winner.
Woohoo.
We will be contacting you directly to arrange for the e-gift voucher from the Green Collective SG. Okay, let's move on to the next question and on to emissions, right? And the next question, what was the total CO2 emissions in 2019 and which countries were the top 5 contributors to CO2 emissions per capita? Submit your answers in the comments. Fastest fingers first. The first right answer will win that e-gift card. What do you have to say about this, Nur Friday?
Um,
What
a lot of
how
questions.
actually, as I said, I am not much of a scientist. So what's the link or relevance maybe between like plastics and like CO2 emissions? Like enlighten us.
It's like as if you can read my mind. I was about to touch on that because a lot of times while I was doing my outreach program, because apart from producing the documentary, I also have an impact campaign that lasted about a month. So during this time, I actually go out into communities to advocate for my film and then talk a little bit about plastic as well. So one of the most common questions I get is, what is plastic? What is the relevance with climate change? So, and I thought, wow, that is a really good question because I thought some clarity would be great. So let me just clarify this since I'm given the opportunity to. Okay. So climate change is the big umbrella. Is a big umbrella. Okay, climate change. There are many drivers towards climate change. So like this umbrella has many like what do you call this? You hold the umbrella with the
Pillars,
thingy thing.
like a handle.
The
Let's just call it a handle or like a
or
pillar. I
handle.
don't know if
Okay,
that's what you
okay.
mean.
So let's gonna call it the handle, okay, or like the stock. Okay, the handle. So this big
Yeah.
umbrella has many handles. Okay, so the umbrella is climate change. The many handles. One of it is marine litter, which is your plastic waste. Okay, and then the other parts of it, there are many other factors. So we have carbon emission. That's one of the uh, handles, and then there are a few others. So plastic is one of the handles, and then carbon emission is another handle. So altogether, this drives towards climate change. So how plastic waste affects climate change, right? Is that when plastics eventually go into our ecosystems. What it does, it pollutes our ecosystem. The little fishies, they eat the plastics, and then it disrupts the ecosystem, right? And then when the ecosystem gets disrupted, the corals will get disrupted, right? So corals are very important for
Yeah.
climate change as well. Okay, so
Essentially, I mean, a huge chain reaction. Right?
yes, a huge chain reaction. And it's important to note that plastic forms marine litter. And we want to reduce it because even when you produce plastics, that increases the use of carbon emission. So it's a oh, this one you pull this, something will happen. You do this and something else will happen.
Yeah.
It's a
All
it's a
interconnected.
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I focus
Okay.
on plastic. Oh, sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
No
Go
worries.
ahead.
No, I just saw that we have an answer from Robin. 36.44 billion metric tons was emitted. That is correct. However, the countries are not right.
Oh no.
Do we have do we have do we have another answer?
So close?
I'm sorry, Robin, you were half right. But thank you for submitting your answers and answering the question. Well, it's still fastest fingers first, Robin, so you could include that. Again, same for Hussein, half the question right. However, the countries are incorrect. You gotta look out for the finer details in the question, people. I was a little tricky
Per
with coming up
capita.
with the questions.
Per capita.
You just revealed the secret. Hello.
2 people tried. I just want to encourage them. So do some math.
Okay,
Divide.
so top 5 contributors per capita. Right? Definitely China, the US, huge countries. So in totality, they would emit a lot more. But per capita. Why don't you try to give it a guess? Nur
What?
Friday.
China?
So Hilsan, again, this is incorrect. So top
Oh,
5
snap.
in 2019 per capita.
Per capita. That was a trick question. That's like an O-level question. That is like that distinguishes between the A students and the B students.
It's 10-year series style, you know.
Yeah. Come on, who are our A students?
Okay, Robin, with the answer, we have Qatar, Trinidad and Tobago, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates. So, Robin, you were correct for 3. Qatar, Trinidad and Tobago, Kuwait, that's correct. So the last, okay, Robin, you really tried. So I'm going to give you the prize. Congratulations. You're getting the $20 e-gift
No one
voucher.
is robbing prize.
The other 2 countries are Brunei and Bahrain. And the commonality of all these countries, or most of these countries, are that they are oil producing countries. So I guess you can see that correlation right there. Okay, let's move on to the last question. Last chance for you to win that $20 voucher, that $20 gift card from the Green Collective SG. And here goes. The COP26 summit, which is the UN Climate Change Conference, outlines 4 strategies to greatly reduce emissions by 2030 in order to reach the ultimate goal of carbon neutrality. What were the 4 strategies countries need to employ to achieve this goal? So the 4 strategies, the 4 ways countries can reduce their carbon emissions significantly. Okay, this is more on a national scale, right? Nur Friday.
Yes.
Why? Since I mean, this has been part of your own personal life, personal behaviors, personal habits. Share with us some tips on how we can be greener as individuals.
Actually, right, I was gonna ask you a question. You know, this
Yep.
$20 voucher, right, is for the Green Collective, which is actually a shop that sells green lifestyle products,
Yes.
right? So for our audience members who are not very familiar with the green lifestyle, let me give you some interesting things you can buy from Green Collective. I am in no way a
Awesome.
spokesperson, but I tell you, I patronize the store quite a bit. So I can tell you what you can find there. And out of the three things that I will share with you, right? The top thing, right, I want you to try because it's a super life changer is this deodorant block. Okay, this deodorant block is a crystal, and it's from Bamboo Struggle. And I love it because it's so unassuming. It's a crystal block and it's supposed to be a deodorant. So how you use it, right, is that you wash the block, and then once it's a little bit dry, you just put it on your armpit as a deodorant, and then you let it dry, right, and then you go about your day. You will not stink. And then I was like, are you sure? And then I tried it, right? Never went back to
Really
plastic
works.
deodorant anymore. Yeah, it really works. Okay,
Interesting.
again, it's called Crystal Deodorant from Bamboo Struggle. Check it out. I really love the product. So that's my top product. Okay. Do I have time to
I'll
share
take
the
this
other two?
moment. I'll take this moment to have a shout out to the Green Collective SG. Please consider Nur Friday to be a brand ambassador.
Yes. Oh, like give me
Okay,
products to try.
I don't see any answers yet, so we
Okay.
have some hints in the comments. So take a look at those hints. Give it your best shot, and yeah, put your answers down. Yes, you were saying sorry, Nur Friday.
Okay, the second thing from Green Collective that you have to get, okay, with the $20 voucher, right? Other than the deodorant block, I think it's about $5 or 6, 7. And it lasts you for a really long time. I'm still going on about the deodorant because I'm so amazed by it. Okay, but it's so like one of the top lah. I would feel like anybody else don't know about it, just try. It's freaking amazing. Okay, enough. Second one. The second item that you need to get, right, it's this like tingkat box from Bamboo Struggle. It's a bento box. Okay, again, try this. Only buy it if you actually do takeaways, or if you actually do bring your own takeaway lunches. If you bring your own
Mm-hmm.
home lunches, then you buy it. Because if you don't, it's not a part of your lifestyle. Don't buy it because you are going to increase the carbon emission. If you buy it and then you don't use, right, then what's the point? You want to be carbon neutral as
Yeah,
much as possible. Yeah. So again, this is
awesome.
from I think Bamboo Straw Girl sells one as well. It's a tingkat box, really cute. And you know what's so cute about it? When you're in primary school, sometimes like your parents want to encourage you to eat healthy, and then they will like make for you like really nice bread, and they put very nice food. It's so cute because you take it out and like you feel like eating lunch. So even if you're at work and then your boss was being so difficult, right? You're so looking forward to your own lunch that you prepared for yourself. That is hashtag self-love. So find that stainless steel bento box. Okay. Second
Okay,
item.
awesome. So Shalini, Robin, once you get your e-gift vouchers, you have the suggestions from Nur Friday, a deodorant block, as well as a Tingkat takeaway kit, right? Okay, I've not seen any answers yet, so I'm going to leave this question for those of you who are tuning in or who watch this video later on. Please submit your answer. We will pick a winner and we'll contact you directly for the $20 voucher to the Green Collective SG. All right. Okay, so let's move on. And right now it's time for hashtag real talk. And
Yeah.
for this segment, before you take your leave, I would like for you to share a quote of inspiration, your own personal quote, as well as some things that our viewers can do to lead a more green lifestyle, right? So I think you mentioned to me earlier before the show that you have a few Instagram pages that will provide some tips.
Yes.
So yeah, go ahead. Hashtag real talk.
Okay, so some things that you can do if you want to adopt a green lifestyle is to follow these top three Instagram pages. Okay, I will recommend them to you because they're so easy to read, and the pictures are so aesthetically pleasing. It makes green looks cool. It makes living green cool. Okay, yeah. So these are the three pages. Maybe Shah, you can help to put in the at the
In the
like comment
comments,
box.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll add it in the comments for sure.
Okay, so the first one is Plastic Free July. So if you don't know, every July there is a movement called Plastic Free July, hashtag Plastic Free July, where people try as much as possible to go plastic free. So you can follow Plastic Free July for tips and tricks and for to learn more about plastic waste and consumption. So the first page is at Plastic Free July. Okay, the second page is the weird and wild. Okay, this is somebody I got to know. Is an acquaintance. What she does is that she sketches easy to read comics about climate change. And she's a local artist. I mean, I don't think she considers herself an artist, but I think she's artistic enough for me to consider her one. Just support her. She's amazing at breaking down big ideas to simple ones. Like complicated ideas to a simpler, easy to digest ideas. So follow the weird and wild. Shout out to Q. That's yeah. So the girl's name, her name is Q. Yeah, Kyun. So you can follow her. Kyun. Yeah, I've met her once. She's a really sweet girl. Oh yeah, sorry, got a bit
Okay.
sidetracked.
No worries.
Okay,
And
and
you have
the third page is at zerowaste.made.easy. Again, this is a living a zero waste lifestyle. What zero waste means is that basically not just no plastic waste, basically no food waste, no waste at all. Okay, zero waste made easy. Follow them. Yeah.
okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, we will include the 3 Instagram pages in the comment section. So keep a lookout for that and lead a greener lifestyle. Maybe before you give us your nugget of wisdom and the quote that you want to leave us with, let's take 2 more questions from the crowd. So we have a question from Hilsan. If given opportunity and resources, will you consider filming a sequel? If yes, what are currently your barriers to execution?
Okay. Yes, I would consider it. But there's something people need to know about me. I am someone with a very like a wide interest, and I feel that I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Better than master of one. That's the full phrase, by the way. Okay, so I feel that I would want to, but because I have other interests right now, going back might be a barrier for me because I'm looking at other areas. But definitely, I might want to relocate again. Maybe when the boys grow older.
Mhm.
I don't know. Stay tuned. Yeah.
So
So
like
one of the
almost
biggest.
like a longitudinal study, right?
Yes. Like, have you been doing your job advocating for plastic, Mika incident? Yeah, this guy as well. I don't know. Maybe let's just see where it goes. But right now, one of the most biggest barriers it's education. I'm still studying, so it's really very hard
Yes.
and to juggle because filmmaking, the process itself of filmmaking will take time. On top of that, the editing process, it's very very tedious, meticulous, and I didn't even know how to use
To
Premiere Pro.
say
I
the
had to
least.
learn. Yeah, and my Premiere Pro was a like a cracked version lah. Okay, it keeps failing on me, and I keep losing drafts. So I decided, don't be a cheapskate. Just go and buy the real Premiere Pro. So I did. Yeah, my biggest barrier is I don't have the time. So yeah, I mean, some people think it's excuses, but with the many hats that I'm wearing, I feel like I don't have enough time and attention to focus on filming again. Yeah, so
Well,
hopefully in the near future, maybe I will. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I think it's not. I mean, the beauty about social impact documentaries, or I mean documentaries per se, when it's talking about real issues, right? Like you can always bring it back. Meaning to say that, right? So it's not just about the story in the film. Like you can always contextualize that film into the current era, or the current age, or the current time with current trends. Correct. So I mean, like with you, this film was done 2018, right?
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, but it was only
2018.
published in 2019.
Yeah, in 2019. But since then, as in you've had like your impact campaign, you've had screenings, you went for talks, and even most recently, you had mentioned to me that you had a screening at Dyson right?
Yeah, it was not really a screening. It was a sharing lah,
A
Dyson. So
sharing. Yeah.
yes, so actually it's also important. Like it's also important who your social circles are, who you know, and it just so happened that my associate producer had some contacts in Dyson, and then he decided, hey, you know what? Let's just share your film, talk about plastic waste to these engineers, because you know the biggest number of polluters for plastic is also not individuals, right? It's also companies. So he thought, okay lah, maybe let's just talk about it. So that was a really nice way of educating people in the different social circle. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was one of the most recent impact campaigns that came up.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, the beauty of that, right, or the beauty of like impact campaigns is that there's longevity, even though the
Yes.
film might have been produced like years back, because you can
Mm.
always contextualize. And yeah, on that note, we have another question from Shalini. If you could write one message on a massive billboard for the world to see, what would it be? So I guess this is in line with your like impact campaign, right? Like, what are you trying to achieve? What message are you trying to send?
Okay, that's really putting me in a position here, Shalini. Okay, right off the bat, right? I think.
Ah, like, okay, no, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, it just thought came to my head, but never mind.
Okay.
It's all
Uh,
good. Go ahead.
I'm still thinking about it. So let me just hear your eureka moment first, Shah.
No, I was wondering whether the quote that you had in mind, because I had asked you to
Mm-hmm.
prepare like a personal quote, would it
Yeah.
be appropriate for
Yes.
this question?
Yes. Yes. So like specifically if Shalini is asking me about something specific to plastics, right? I really had to think about it. But if it's just like in general, right? This quote, my personal quote would be something I would love to be plastered on the biggest billboard. Say it in a microphone, plug it to the satellite, let the whole world hear you. This quote. Yeah.
And
So
plastic, but not on plastics. Yeah.
no, not on plastics.
Okay, sorry, that was my weak attempt at a joke, but no worries. Please go ahead with your quote.
Okay. So the quote is, what comes from the heart goes to the heart. People will be like, so cheesy. No, but it's true. Because sometimes, right, I feel that if you're sincere and genuine with your intentions, people can just feel it. You know, you don't have to sell it too much. You don't have to market it so well. People will just feel it, because I think we are connected on a very, like a very heart, like a very, I don't know, vibe and very aura level with each other. We can just feel it. So again, this is a quote that has been given to me by my mother. She is my moral compass. So whenever the world says no, but mother says yes, I will listen to my mother. Yeah. So this quote has always been with me for a really long time since I was young. I've always lived it, and I feel like that is an overall principle of my life, which is whatever that comes from the heart goes to the heart. Like if you're going to do something not out of sincerity, people can't feel it. But if you want to have the deepest impact, you want it to go into the heart and inspire people, it should come from a sincere place. And I feel that that is my overall principle for life. So you will never catch me doing something I'm not committed to. Even assignments, my
And I think
professors
that
can tell you
speaks,
that.
yeah, that's I mean, I was very similar in university as well, but I think
Mm,
this speaks to this whole point of just being authentic, right? And definitely as a
yes,
filmmaker and a documentary filmmaker, if you want to connect with your subjects, you want to connect with your audience, it has to come from the heart. So
exactly.
thank you. What comes from the heart goes to the heart. And with that, I again, on behalf of the team at the Social Impact Film Club, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so much
having
for taking
me.
the time. Thank you so much for sharing your stories, and participating in the trivia together with our viewers as well. So thank you.
You're
And to all
welcome.
of you who joined in, yes, thank you. Cheers. And to all of you who joined in today live, and for those of you who will be watching this at a later time, thank you so much for joining. As Nur Friday said, there's we are all, or we share this connection, right? It's just about bridging that connection. And so with in real life, that's one way of us trying to connect with you. But please do check out our film club. So filmclub.sg, join that social impact film club. You will be able to connect with all different types of people who are interested in film, who are interested in social causes, who are interested in environmental causes as well. And we hope that on that platform, we can grow new initiatives beyond just watching the documentary films that we're hosting and that we're screening. So thank you so much for joining. Please do join us for the next In Real Life episode next week, where we will be speaking to director Thomas Morgan and his film that he directed, which is Waiting for Mamu. And so before all of you take leave and enjoy your Saturday night, please stay on for a few more minutes as we're going to show the trailer for Waiting for Mamu. Thank you all. In Real Life, peace out.
This amazing film is about one hero and how she transformed the lives of hundreds of children. Watch it now, and I promise you'll be moved, you'll laugh, you'll be entertained, and you'll be inspired.
I've seen a lot of shocking things in my time, but nothing as upsetting as the imprisonment of young children. And I've met some pretty amazing and brave people over the course of my career, but never anyone like Pushpa Basnet, CNN's 2012 Hero of the Year, who is fighting on behalf of these innocent children.
Namaste, welcome to our home.